Every defensive end in NFL history, from first-ballot legends to the biggest draft flops, fits somewhere within these 7 categories. While most never climb beyond the middle tiers, the few who reach Tier 7 are remembered eternally. But first, we'll begin by covering Tier 1. For Tier 1, we're highlighting top draft choices who utterly collapsed under the weight of expectations. These are players franchises spent major resources on believing they discovered their cornerstone edge rusher. Let's begin with Vernon Gholston. The Jets selected this man 6th overall in 2008, assuming they'd secured their dominant pass threat. What they received instead was a complete failure who produced exactly 0 sacks in his entire professional career. None. Over 3 seasons in New York, Gholston totaled 42 tackles across 45 appearances. That's unacceptable output from a top 10 draft choice. And we can't ignore Clelin Ferrell. The Raiders drafted him 4th overall in 2019, and the guy performed so averagely that Raiders fans demanded his removal within 2 years. He ended with merely 17 sacks through 6 campaigns. That's roughly 3 sacks annually for a top 5 selection. The Raiders became so eager to part ways that they allowed him to leave in free agency, and he's bounced around teams since then. There truly isn't much more to mention about players like these, though at the next tier you start to see some rotational contributors. These defenders are serviceable, not full-time linemen. Can be respectable occasionally, but usually require someone else to actually serve as the main starter. If they're your 4th option, you're fine. If they're your lead guy, then your defensive front is in real danger. Look at Chase T. Young. He had an incredible debut campaign in 2020, posting 7.5 sacks and claiming Defensive Rookie of the Year. Yet his current role has shifted to a supporting piece in New Orleans, adding 5.5 sacks in 2024, and he hasn't even taken the field so far in 2025. Leonard Floyd showed the same pattern before improving his game. He posted solid numbers as a rotational defender in Chicago, could execute every rush technique, but tended to vanish for stretches. Then Leonard Floyd joined the Rams and captured a Super Bowl with Aaron Donald and Von Miller beside him. So he was the 3rd man. Tier 2 linemen can help secure championships as secondary contributors. They keep coordinators satisfied due to their dependability, yet shouldn't be expected to headline your pass rush. Strong enough to assist, just not strong enough to be the long-term leader. That's the next stage. Here we're talking about players who likely earned several Pro Bowl nods, maybe even an All-Pro, but still fall short of truly elite defensive linemen. They're disruptive enough to make offensive coordinators take notice, but not quite dominant enough to haunt their sleep. Jevon Kearse delivered a historic rookie campaign in 1999, tallying 14.5 sacks and claiming Defensive Rookie of the Year honors. He was utterly unstoppable that first season. Afterward, though, he never fully recaptured the level he had initially set. You'll find players like Brian Burns here, outstanding in Carolina, now playing with the Giants, and still performing at a high level. But he's always carried more name recognition than consistent greatness, topping 10 sacks only once. George Karlaftis and Nick Bonito belong in this same range as well. Reliable every-week starters, though not exactly elite. Even so, these guys generate enough pressure to keep a defense competitive. But don't expect them to dominate or challenge any long-standing sack records soon. That category is reserved for the top-tier starters. Everyone knows who those are. What distinguishes them from standard starters is their ability to anchor a defense, command double teams from blockers, and lead squads deep into the postseason. Max Crosby perfectly embodies this ceiling of performance. When he's locked in, he's flat-out terrifying. That 2023 campaign with 14.5 sacks and a second-team All-Pro nod made him look destined for superstardom. Justin Tuck might be the most clutch example of this Hall of Fame potential. Tier 5 features pass rushers with premier technique, clutch instincts, and the ability to make plays that 90% of their peers simply can't replicate. Nick Bosa led San Francisco to multiple NFC championship runs and a Super Bowl berth, racking up 18.5 sacks in his 2022 Defensive Player of the Year campaign. Micah Parsons almost single-handedly pulled Dallas from defensive mediocrity, posting 13.5 sacks as a rookie and earning first-team All-Pro. First-team All-Pro, then second-team All-Pro in his first 3 seasons. You also have someone like Terrell Suggs, who recorded 139 career sacks. Green finished with 160 career sacks, earning Defensive Player of the Year in 1996, and stood as one of the most durable and productive pass rushers in league history, Michael Strawn holding the single-season sack record. Deacon Jones racked up an unofficial 173.5 sacks. Because sacks weren't officially recorded until 1982, his totals remain unofficial. Yet he reportedly posted consecutive seasons of 21.5 and 22 sacks in 1967 and 1968. J.J. Watt enjoyed a peak that no one else could touch. 3 Defensive Player of the Year honors in 4 years, 114.5 career sacks, and that 2014 campaign with 20.5 sacks plus 3 touchdowns. He honestly should have been named MVP, but that award went to Aaron Rodgers instead. Finally, we end with Lawrence Taylor, the greatest defensive player in NFL history. He put together 5 straight years of 12 sacks, and the only reason it wasn't 6 was because he finished one of those seasons with 11.5. He logged 20.5 sacks and captured MVP honors in 1986. No one could contain him. These 6 pass rush legends are eternal in football history. They fulfilled every imaginable requirement. They could do everything a defense could need. And they stood unmatched at their craft. And that brings us full circle. The 7 tiers of NFL pass rushers. From the monumental busts that crippled franchises to the transcendent forces that reinvented the position itself. Every pass rusher you've ever witnessed, every name that echoes through highlight reels, fits somewhere within this scale. And as the sport continues to evolve, eras may change. But the greatest of all time will remain immortal, regardless of generation.